ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Atlanta, Georgia, here at hi-rez Studios. My name is F. Joined here by Adonis. And Europe just ended. We're about to get into some North American stuff. But before we get into it, how do you feel about that last match?
I was obviously the complete wrong direction on my picks. Titan looked much cleaner than I thought. Confrey had a rough game in the roll swap in game one. Shaggy seemed to outplay him, at least in the 1v1 manner. But coming into team fights, Confrey really showed where he can shine. And then the second game with Medusa, he on a much earlier god than Rom. You know, Rom takes a little bit to get going. Yep. Much more comfortable.
Yeah, I definitely thought so as well. I thought they looked a little more confident than I expected.
For sure.
Of course, being Titan. I expected a little bit of ramp-up time, a little bit of let's get going. I figured London Conspiracy would take the first one, but no. Titan came out with all cylinders firing and wound up taking both games. So congratulations to Titan, opening our summer split with a 2-0 against London Conspiracy. Shifting gears, over in North America, we don't do that much. We drive automatics.
Yeah, no, automatics are fine, but it's going to be Cloud9 versus Denial. I was trying to think of a witty automatic. I can't do it. I'm new to this.
It's just not that automatic for Adonis right here.
It's going to take a little bit, but Denial versus Cloud9. Cloud9 world champions. Took a little falter, kind of like a post-SWC hangover, it seems. Did not make it to LAN. Are they hungry enough? Did they take this time to improve since the end of the spring split?
Yeah, I think that's a great question to ask. It's definitely a question you have to ask, and I think this is one of the better matchups for Cloud9 to open their season with. We've got them facing up against Denial, who, as we mentioned before in the pregame show, if you guys are just joining us, we mentioned how Denial is sort of a middle-of-the-pack team. They're far from the worst, but they're not quite one of the better teams, and Cloud9, still one of the best teams around. Definitely have to look about how they're going to handle their situation. So as we get into picks and bans, it's really up to Cloud9 to really solidify their spot as being the top, and Denial is really trying to play spoiler here.
Yeah, one thing to note, though, it is not Madman Mark. It is Bronx Bombers that's going to be playing for Denial. Right. And I expect Denial to be drafting, much like they did in Split 1, is hyper-aggressive early game. And also, it's not the best. It is Baskin Robin, or renamed now to Baskin to the face.
I'm so done.
A little bit of joke at Mace to the face. Please, guys. Please.
Well, there's that first ban, Isis, that we saw. Isis got played a lot in the spring split coming out from Mace to the face. I mean, this is something that you don't necessarily need a stat on. It's just sort of the definition of what Mace to the Face does. But how many games in that spring split did we actually see Isis come out?
7 games. It was actually Denial's most played god was the Isis in mid lane. Yep. And like we've been talking about, the early game, that's Isis screams early game. Her 1-3 is one of the strongest you can have. And on the Denial, they're going to ban out Sylvanas, so another early game god, but they're going to take it out themselves, and then C9's going to take out Bologna. Maybe that's something Baskin's comfortable on, but just in general, Bologna is incredibly strong in the mid game. Yeah,
Bologna's just a strong pick. Going back to that Isis, of those 7 games, I think 6 were victories, so definitely an extreme amount of wins on that Isis. A huge potential coming out for Denial Esports. So is Isis a top pick, top ban? Maybe not all the time, but when you're playing against Mace to the Face, definitely want to watch out for that. Thor will round out the bans. Cloud9 gets picked first.
3 early game bans being taken out of. You don't want to deal with the Sylvanas, but Bastet picked up for Cloud9. That's a little bit of a flex pick, but you don't really see Omega play too many Bastet solos. He'll play the Bakasura occasionally, but his main gear is Warriors and then Bakasura.
Omega definitely leans towards the tanky side of the solo lane meta. It's interesting. If you take a look at his past games, he's played Neath here and there, but he's always sort of leaned towards the tanky characters. I mean, Chalk is the one that has the skin, the Cloud9 skin in game, who's tanky by himself. So Bastet most likely going to be Ananster in the jungle, a very North American first pick. And then on the side of Denial, Bakasura and Serqet. So all assassins on the board right now. We're looking at a lot of damage.
Yeah, Bakasura really controls lane. He just has a ton of kill potential, especially against bruisers. With Butcher's Blades, you get that extra 2 damage, and there's not much they can do to box you. Additionally, Bakasura is the only assassin with sustain in his kit. He's able to eat up the minions and basically be able to trade out with these warriors without having to worry about having to back early.
We saw a lot of cool Bakasura plays in qualifiers. Uzzy Wuzzy was at 1 HP, ate a minion.
Oh, man.
And not only does it heal you, but it also has other benefits as well, doesn't it?
You get additional move speed from your passive once you kill these minions, and that's going to allow Bakasura to rotate incredibly fast. Or early on, when the other player doesn't have boots, they're able to catch up to them and secure the kill.
Speaking of rotations, Janus picked up for Cloud9. That's almost undoubtedly going to go in the middle lane, and this character will be able to rotate easily with that ultimate, no problem at all. So you're going to look for a lot of team rotations out of the middle lane from Cloud9. It should be interesting to see how often Janus really visits those side lanes before we get too deep into it.
So Sobek picked up. This could be played in both support or solo. So the Bakasura Sobek could be a flex pick, and they actually may decide to switch it up based on what Cloud9 runs in the solo lane. If Cloud9 doesn't run a warrior that Bakasura can straight up beat, they may just put the Sobek there.
It's very interesting, too. They might just put the Sobek there, especially given that Baskin-Robbins is a ranked player. So these players on Cloud9 have seen Baskin-Robbins play in that sort of solo queue, duo queue atmosphere, but they have not experienced him in a full team environment yet. So what are the picks that Baskin-Robbins leans towards? Cloud9 has a question mark there for the most part because this is his first time in the SPL. So will he lean more towards a Sobek or Bakasura? We can't really tell. Neither can Cloud9.
Yeah, and they're also going to draft that Athena there. Athena screams early. That's the other best god early on. Geb takes a little bit of ramp up. He doesn't have strong clear. He doesn't have strong rotations. Meanwhile, Defender Olympus is going to allow Athena to be anywhere on the map whenever she wants. Something to note, though, is Athena, Sobek, Baka, where these gods can play multiple roles. Baka's typically solo only, but occasionally will jungle, and Denial might be trying to throw Cloud9 in for a loop, but it is going to be Hercules locked in for Cloud9 solo laner. We'll probably see that Baka in solo.
Most likely, Bakasura will do very well against Hercules. Hercules naturally tanky, but as Kevin mentioned earlier, their true damage, it doesn't really matter if you're going to build tanky or whatnot. It's all about the true damage that ignores armor. Hoye picked up for Cloud9, so we're going to see if Barracuda can really pull out what Zapman did in the qualifiers. Barracuda, top-tier hunter, really no contest, no conversation about that. I want to see how well these ricochets come out for Barracuda.
And he doesn't have any setup with player-made walls like we saw with the Ymir wall, the Zapman Dare to Care combo we saw. Cupid locked in. Cupid has actually Denial's most played hunter. Last split, they played him 4 times.
It's interesting though because they had a different player in that hunter role.
It was Mark.
Madman Mark, definitely a Cupid player. When you turn things around and realize that Bronx Bombers is there, Bronx Bombers played a lot of Freya and did very well on Freya. Ability-based, Cupid, ability-based. So looking at the mid-game is Denial.
I think Denial's going to look to cheese here. Not in a bad sense.
Elaborate.
Mace to the Face for the past 2 months has been playing Cupid mid non-stop. And is he on it? Mace to the Face mid.
There
Cupid.
It is.
I wasn't too sure, but...
So what winds up in this hunter role, Adonis?
Bronx... Baka dual lane? I haven't seen this. This is new to me. The Cupid mid doesn't surprise me, but the Baka ADC, that's something we haven't seen in a long time.
I mean, we've seen Zapman play Loki. We've seen Barracuda play Poseidon. Talk to me about what this Bakasura brings to a duel lane.
Kill potential at level 5, especially against Barracuda. If he can cripple out his dash before he can get it off. But, I mean, that's... Denial's game is early right now. They are trying to win early. Mace to the Face, when he runs this Cupid mid, at least in ranked, they love to invade even back harpies. Typically, you'll even see the jungler go from back harpies to mid. He won't even go to solo at the start of the game.
Now, speaking of invade, Denial grouped up 5 men right now. Well, 4. Athena just back. They're in their own jungle, so they're just playing it safe. But Denial, for as long as they've been around, they've jumped from team to team, right? Sponsors are separate from the teams. In both instances of Denial, they've been an early game team. I find that incredibly fun.
I mean, like you said earlier, it really counters out these top teams who like the middle and late game, and really that's what Cloud9 is running. It's going to take the Geb a little bit to get online. It's going to take the Huey to get a little bit online. It's really Anister's job to carry them. His power spike is between 5 to 12, his levels at least, because he's doing so much base damage that no other, or very few junglers can compete with him.
A little bit of an invade coming out by the players of Cloud9. Anister and Omega take the blue buff uncontested. Jumping in is Anister, not quite able to grab the speed away from Xing, but they do have their opponent's blue. So as they make it into lane, should be interesting. Is Denial going to go for the enemy blue buff? It's still up.
I don't think they can't, right? Anister and Omega are going to have basically too strong of a clear to deal with this, but actually they're able to hit 2 fast enough.
Wow, good hits coming out. Anister very, very low. A flip is good, but no follow-up. Omega level 2, so not quite able to nail that combo.
Even with the Hog by Sobek, they weren't able to clear those archers fast enough to be able to commit. And here's what Mace does. He's super aggressive early on with this Cupid mid, but takes a lot of return poke, MLC stealth. Nice unstable vortex hitting there.
Very interesting. Small, easy to forget fact about that Cupid dash. It actually increases your attack speed.
Okay. It doesn't get too much use early, and you see what Stealth is doing. He's trying to poke out this Cupid, because if he's poked out, he's not going to be able to dash aggressively and get the early poke off that he needs to succeed in this lane.
Which is really what a Cupid is looking for, because Cupid's clear is lackluster, especially compared to mages, right?
For sure. But, you know, he actually did pick up the dagger that basically cleaves your auto attacks.
Right. It'll eventually be built into Golden Bow. I don't expect it to be built right away into the Golden Bow, or do we? Do you expect to see that built immediately?
I think he just wants to get it for the early clear, because Cupid can't push that strong.
Exactly. So if you miss the mechanic right there, the basic attacks as you shoot it will, as Athena said, it will cleave all basic attacks. It's a 15-foot radius, 25% of the damage. So he's not going to hit for much, but it might be just enough. Good damage coming on a Barra, but able to jump away, no problem.
Yeah, but he's half life, and that's really what's important here. If Bronx can get a little bit more poke off, his job is to hit 5 and catch Barracuda off guard. It's going to be the same story that you see in the solo lane. Now, when he hits 5 is just about 3 minutes, and by then the supports are going to be rotated to mid.
It should be interesting, though, because as you mentioned, it's all about Bakasura hitting 5. Once Barracuda hits 5, he gets the Sun's ultimate. So
it's going to be a little bit of a counter, but it's not going to be enough damage. He's going to hit the slow, but additionally, Bronx is going to be crippling out Hu Yi, and Hu Yi's not going to get away.
So Hu Yi really needs to look to kite within that ultimate, using the mark to slow Bronx bombers, as well as his 1 to stun him in it, more so for the safety than the aggression.
For sure. And here, he's about 1 creep away. The supports are rotating. This is when we expect to see it. I don't think Barracuda is going to put himself in a bad spot, though.
Yeah, Barracuda definitely one of the better hunters when it comes to spacing in the lane. Really, really strong in that 1v1, so this might be a good situation for him to be in against that Bakasura.
But you see what Jeff did. He rotated over to mid cams, recognized that his team wasn't in position, and instead of trying to contest or split with the mid lane, which he would typically do in that situation, he came back to lane to make sure Barracuda basically wouldn't get bursted down by the Bakasura. Great decision making coming out of Jeff there.
So how afraid of this Bakasura? Is this just he hit 5, now we got to watch it? Or will this sort of be a babysat lane for the remainder of the early game?
Maybe babysat, but I think it's really the unknown that's going to be scaring Cloud9 more than anything. No one runs this. In ranked, you'll see it very rarely come out, but in scrims, Team Solo Mid's not running this. This is something they have very limited experience against, and they know Bakasura's kill potential in solo. Barracuda should just look to play it safe, and that's the name of the game.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we saw a Bakasura in the duo lane might have been DJ Pernicus' team down to frag. I forget who was playing, but it was a Baka support.
Kiki used to run a lot of Baka support back then, but he was down to frag solo laner.
Yeah, it was all about counter jungling then as a Bakasura support, but now as a Bakasura hunter or ADC, you're looking more for that aggression. Bakasura definitely there's the aggression right now, just going into the enemy's jungle, trying to steal away their buffs, and that's one thing that Bakasura does very well at.
Yeah, and I like this decision-making by Cloud9. They're not looking to engage. They're going to give up a buff or two, but they know they have the stronger late game. Once Jeff Hinlick can get rolling, and you see Denial 0-0-0 across the board. They haven't done anything. They've tried a little aggression, but Cloud9 is not allowing them to force fights.
Over in the solo lane, Denial actually got their buffs this time around, so the first set of blue buff was invaded on by Cloud9. Denial claims it this time, so solo lane looking a little stronger. Pushed under the tower was a Baskin to the face. Omega almost got him. He's about half, but Ching's in the jungle.
Yeah, but you see C9 Omega just kind of like peek to the left a little bit, saying, I know you're there. He recognized that Xing was in the jungle. He doesn't have any wards. That's probably just game knowledge, or the fact that Xing might have just barely snuck out into that lane and showed himself off. Omega is a little bit worried about the Serqet, because Serqet's ultimate, Last Breath, actually negates all healing.
Yeah, you cannot heal up that last breath, and it's true damage as well.
Yes.
So
very good against the Hercules.
So as tanky, we were talking about the potential Hercules versus Bakasura matchup. Also have to watch the true damage coming out of the Serqet.
Serqet, yep. In the mid lane, Ananser's trying to get a little bit of damage off here, and that's Ananser's just trying to poke. He's starting off, he's going to have boots done, so he wants that mobility to get across lanes. He's probably going to look to go in Jotuns or a stacking item. You might see a Heart Seeker, you might see a Transcendence.
This is that scary part for this Cupid mid lane. Janus can clear this wave with one ability. Cupid, even with the Golden Dagger, can't come anywhere close.
He hit him. Great snipe. That's going to be first blood coming out of stealth there. And you saw the Sobek knows the ult's coming out, tries to backstep, but he was actually clear, backstepped into it. First blood, MLC stealth.
Beautiful long-range shot. It's going to be 3-on-2 right here. Denial trying to clean things up a little bit. Cupid ult is good. Janus needs to hit him, and he does. MLC Stealth takes one, but Xing makes him pay. That's a 1-for-1. Xing looking very low, but in comes Bronx Bombers with a swift rotation out of dual lane to prevent the aggression coming out from Cloud9. Beautiful trade.
Barracuda also made his way to mid lane to counteract Brock's rotation. That was a great fight, but really the key there was the fact that that unstable Vortex was able to snipe out Mace in the back. I don't even know I don't think he was aiming for him. I think it was just like, I'm getting blown up. MLC's like, I'm going to use Vortex because everyone's near me. But he's able to hit out Stealth, or excuse me, not hit out Mace, and Mace isn't able to make any more impact in the team fight.
Awesome plays coming out right there from, honestly, both teams. Denial and Cloud9 both starting off this North American day with a bang. And here we are in the dual lane. If you're just joining us, yes, that is a Bakasura ADC being played by Bronx Bombers. Both the player and the god are new in this role, are new for Denial Esports right here. But as we mentioned earlier, Bakasura fits right in with Denial's want to win early mentality.
Yeah, but they're not winning early. They're losing in kills. They're a little bit behind in gold. Not much, but Denial wanted to get rolling early, especially with this Bakasura, because now they don't have a Hunter late game. And right now everyone's screaming Hunters are OP, and I'm not going to say if they are or not, but late game, when your Hunter is critting for 700-800 and you have a Bakasura who's not able to do that, that's a big downfall.
Bakasura, one of the good things about having that Bakasura late game, though, is the ability to kill towers. Baka will kill a tower just as fast as a Hunter will in the late game, which, at the end of the day, that is how you win. You kill the objective. So the team fights might go in a different direction, but if Denial can play smart and objective-wise, the Bakasura pick might work out.
Another rotation coming out of stealth here, but he's going to get taunted right after.
Ultimate coming out from the Cupid. Keb going to follow up as well. Mace to the face falls to MLC Stealth. Bronx Bombers trying to chase the low health MLC, and he does. He gets him with a jump and a basic, and 3 members of Cloud9 are trying to stop him, but they can't get around the corner. Bronx Bombers on the wrong side of the map right now. Solo side, right side. 2 members of Cloud9. How long till the jump is up? It's good, and Bronx Bombers is safe.
Yeah, but Omega's rotating in behind this fight. This could turn sour for them if he decides to turn. No, he's going to hit the nice pluck, but the Sobek pool going to keep his team alive for a couple more seconds.
Beautiful pluck, and the ultimate not enough from Omega, and Anister jumps in just to try to seal the deal, but Bronx Bomber just a little too quick.
Yeah, actually, Anister's jump is Bastet's jump is a little bit slower, so it takes that extra half second to get off the damage. Meanwhile, Bakasura's jump, the startup is instant. You saw him. You saw Anister land just as Bronx jumps, doesn't get the damage off.
It looks bad for Cloud9. There's 4 members in red right here, and Mace to the face claims the life of Jeff Hinla. Unfortunately for them, Denial, all half HP, so I don't think a Gold Fury is really in their sights. They might look at MLC Stealth. No, they're just going to play it safe.
Yeah, but you saw Baskin there. If he had hit that pluck on Stealth, he was dead. Stealth had no actives up. He had no portal for 5 seconds. That was a huge, I wouldn't say misplay. Stealth didn't really juke it, but he just barely missed.
That said, Cloud9 gets right camps. This is the 3rd set of mid camps, which are still very, very important. 4th camp is important as well, but the third one is pretty much the last of the super hyper important mid camps.
For sure. Now the timers are getting off. People are looking for team fights and picks more so than I need to fight at these. And it looks like they've traded out all game. There's about a 1,000 gold lead in favor of C9 though.
Anister trying to play a little aggressive. MLC will chunk out a lot of damage, but no fight wanted from Denial right here. Mace to the face going to come in on the left side. But a dash under his tower, again, safe. But again, minions under the tower. All game, we've seen this from Janus. As soon as he hit level 7, level 8, Cupid has not been able to deal with his push.
Yeah, the full clear is too good. And I think the key here in this mid lane has been Stealth's poke. And yeah, just perfect. You see the damage numbers come up. If he's not able to poke out the Cupid can probably look to fight him early. But Stealth has hit almost every unstable Vortex on Mace to the face, and he hasn't been able to respond. Gold Fury started by Cloud9.
Seems like a little bit of a force, Cloud9 trying to get the fight. Cupid ult is going to be good right where he wants it to be. That's a lot of damage onto Anister. Ho-Yi ult is going to provide the spacing, not the damage, and is not good enough. Mace to the face claims the life of the enemy mid laner. Cupid onto Janus, and there's a separate fight in the backline. Shadow Q is just dead.
There's nowhere for him to go, and Answer's go real deep,
Beautiful.
hits the snipe through the tower. Anister finds another kill on the back end of that, and just like you said at the start of that fight, is Cloud9's not really looking to do this. They're looking to force the fight.
This could be fishy. Cloud9 gets it, but Basket to the face is still under the water. He's looking for the damage. Beautiful jump, anticipating the Sobek ult coming out from Barracuda, but he's all alone, and Andy gets the second kill for himself. 2-0-2 reached the slash line for Cloud9's jungler.
I don't know about that going in by the Sobek there, unfortunately. He didn't have a Hog, so he wasn't going to be able to full contest. He had Hog 1.
Yeah.
And additionally, he's basically killing himself. So he's trying to trade out with another player, but he's not guaranteeing the kill for himself. It's a risky move, and it didn't go in his favor, and just another kill for Cloud9 on top of the Gold Fury.
I liked that play initially before I looked at the items and noticed that he didn't have a Hog 3. Then it was just sort of a question mark. But with that Gold Fury, we're going to see a 3,000 gold lead for Cloud9, folks. At 12 minutes, that is a hefty sum.
That's pretty decent. It's not over for Denial, but the fact that we were talking about their game is late, or their game is early, and now the Geb's coming online. Now the Huyi's coming online. Bronx has lost his burst potential. He still has kill potential against Barracuda, but he doesn't have that level 5 power spike where he can just surprise and jump on you.
I'm very excited to see this Hou-Yi now that we're level 12. We're getting involved. Taunt from Shadow Q didn't look like it wound up in much, but as Bronx Bombers jumps in, looked like it might have been a little bit more than they anticipated. Baskin Robbins has been on the left side of the map more than almost any solo lane we've seen today.
Yeah, in addition, Omega has the teleport, so he's benefiting from Baskin Robbins being there and only poke happening, no fight. You see him, he's got a wave in his solo lane tower, and just look at the level difference. 3 levels in about 1,500 gold. That's about half their gold lead on the solo lane alone.
Mid-camp's going to go the way of what looks like the red team, despite Andy jumping in. Taunt by Shadow Q is not there. Good choice to save the taunt. There wasn't enough follow-up.
Yeah, and there, once again, you see Omega come in, but here's the kill potential Baka needs, and it's not there. Geb's able to blink in and look for a counter engage.
Ooh, missed opportunity by Jeff Hinla. Nobody caught in the Cataclysm. And it looks like, well, everybody is spread out here, folks. It's not quite a team fight. Cloud9 just a little spread out. And if you take a look at the ultimates, 4 available for Denial. They want to fight. Cloud9's not letting them.
Yeah, but like you said, they want to fight. And you see them group, they're trying to look for a pluck with Baskin. If Baskin misses, though, a 3-man taunt there, and this could be the fight they need.
That's going to be a lot of damage with all of those ultimates coming out. Omega doing what he can, but Xing says no. Still under the tower is Denial. They get the 1 pick. Can they do much with it? Not too sure. As Barracuda makes his way from the dual lane, he's going to find himself right here. Throws out the mark, no stun, and now Cloud9 are the aggressors in this mid lane.
Yeah, they burned a lot to get the kill. They did, but then they had to back off. Barracuda looked to re-engage after backing, and just Anitzer's doing a great job of poking right now. Can we bring up player damage real quick? He's probably up top there with, yeah, now he's topping the charts. Before he was number 2 compared to Janus, who was getting a ton of poke against Mace.
So 3 ultimates for 1 pick. At 14 minutes, I feel like that's a win despite losing all those ultimates because there's no fight anytime soon.
That was great right there. I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
Barracuda, he was dashed on, and Shadow Q just wanted to bait out the beads. That was his intent the whole time. He was just trying to scare Barracuda. He gets the beads. More importantly, he gets beads 1. Those are down for 180 seconds.
It's going to be a very long time. In fact, the ultimates that we were talking about, they'll be online before those beats. So if Denial wants to aggress on Barracuda, he's almost as good as dead if they play it right.
Yo, Bronx, he has his ultimate up. He's for sure going to be looking for Barracuda in the back line if he's able to get around there. Additionally, Xing's going to be able to go on him with little repercussion.
Omega's been playing very well, trying to keep all the damage away. Taunt, 2-man, but falling into the portal. That said, Cupid ult is good. Pushed out of it by Xing. That's going to be a problem, but Andy still goes down thanks to the dot. That'll be good enough, and Denial has tied up the kills.
Now we actually see Mace to the face caught by Omega in the rotation, but MLC Stealth just trying to help defend his teammate. And Omega's just so tanky right now. He got that early lead against Baskin Robin, and now it's showing in his items. He's got Yon's online, he's got Boots online. He's not as tanky as you would normally see, but he has the damage to scare off the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, he's building Boots into a Jotuns. We normally see, as you said, we normally see much more tankiness coming out of Herc. Just now, is he building his tanky item? The cloak you see coming online, is this a Magi's or an Urchin?
It could be a Spirit Robe. There's a lot of CC coming out from Denial. It could be multiple items. I think it could be.
I think all three are viable.
Yeah, I think all three are viable. Probably a Magi's or a Spirit's Robe, I would say. One thing I want to note, too, is he's building damage because look at his lane matchups. It's not efficient to build magical items or magical defensive items. You're not getting a strong benefit off it personally. In addition to that, there's the true damage and the healing reduction from Serqet.
Yeah, there's just no magical damage on the side of Denial. Athena does damage, and Sobek will do damage, but it's not like you're fighting against an Agni. You're not fighting against any of that, so it's not too much.
Yeah, so I think damage was the appropriate route for him to go in. A lot of just poking in the mid lane, and I think this is benefiting Denial the longer the game goes.
I love watching experienced teams treat Heart Bomb so well. As soon as a member gets Heart Bombed, because it will spread if you're close, you just see them divert instantaneously. The instinct is there. It's so much fun to see that, and that mid ward is so popular these days.
Yeah, you want to really know, and I don't know if it's as useful against Janus, but you want to know where the enemy mid laner is, because it is about mind games sometimes, and we're actually going to see a dash in by Shadowq. I think he's just still trying to bait beads.
Yeah, we've seen that all game so far. 17 minutes into this contest, if you're just joining us, the game is 3,000 gold in the way of Cloud9. Kills are all but tied, and not a single structure has gone down. Only one Gold Fury, and that went the way of Cloud9.
The question is going to be, who can Denial go on? It's going to have to... There's so much mobility coming out of the carries of C9 that it's going to be hard to lock down any one specific player. You just see right there. Anitzer has a double jump. He's got his beads online. And then, you know, Omega, he's incredibly tanky just at the base stats. It's going to be hard to kill. Jeff Hinla has the... It's going to be hard to lock down someone.
All these members on Cloud9 are slippery, to say the least. Barracuda, a lot of people make fun of the jump ability for Hou Yi, but if you actually get it off, you travel a large distance, so and still slippery.
I think more importantly than the large distance, that's Baskin Robin could get dove here. One more auto attack. Does C9 Omega have the dash up? 2 more seconds. He misses the auto, but Baskin able to get the charge prey off. Is MLC Stealth going to snipe him again?
He's not going to be able to get him with the ult, but will he get him? He gets him with the portal, and that's that. Mid lane rotation going to claim the life.
That was the laziest back I've ever seen. He was in vision of the Janus ult. He was actually in vision. He saw the portal go right past him, and yet he still chose to back there. Bad decision coming out of Baskin.
Cloud9 getting ready for a jump in. Andy gets taunted as soon as he jumps in. The ultimate coming out from Bronx Bombers. Hou Yi's going to drop as well. Andy's about 40% HP, so not a good gank for him. And Omega getting double teamed. Isn't enough. We talked about how tanky he is. He's level 17. All of that damage only brings him down to 60.
Yeah, and he's not that tanky yet, right? He has Jotuns. He's now... Okay, he does have the Spirit's Robe, and that's where the damage reduction came through, but another engage by Jeff Hinla.
Good taunt coming out. A lot of damage put out by the Janus. Omega's going to give chase. Ultimate after the 2. Not even needed the full combo. Great stuff coming out from the solo laner. MLC Stealth, not to be shown up, claims his own kill. Bronx Bomber's going to fall. And again, Cloud9, always objective focused. They're looking at gold.
Yeah, you saw what happened there was Denial invested so much to try and kill Omega, but the Spirit Robe did so much work. Shadowq is just going to get picked here as well, and it's going to be a huge gold lead now after those couple kills.
Much different situation that time than when Baskin to the Face tried to do it, though. Shadowq has the Hog 3, he's got the taunt, he has the tools to steal a Gold Fury, and sometimes it just doesn't work out, and you're going to die for it. I feel like that death is... No death is okay, Kevin, but that death is more okay than a different death might have been.
It's not I'm suiciding with little benefit. Maybe I trade out a kill. It's I have the potential to steal Gold Fury and even out this game. But I want to go back to my point is Denial invested so much into that Hercules. 3 ultimates, Cupid ult, Athena ult, and Serqet ult. Once that was down, we saw Cloud9 engage and split up the team, which was what was more important there. Bronx Bombers got caught on the side by Anitzer. He's busy fighting cats. Meanwhile, the rest of the team had to deal with stealth.
It's the domino effect. Omega forced everybody to use all their ultimates. Cloud9 forced to fight. Cloud9 gets the Gold Fury. That is how it works here. In Smite, you're always looking to find the small windows of opportunity, open them up, and grab the next piece.
The biggest problem with Denial's roster right now, or not roster, excuse me, but lineup right now is actually there's not going to be another gank in the mid lane.
Andy taking a lot of damage. He's going to be followed by Xing jumping over the wall, but a beautiful, beautiful shield by Jeff Hinla will save his teammate, and the knockup will get the kill. Great play by Jeff.
It's so hard to lock them down. Like we were saying earlier, it's going to be so hard for Denial to find picks and lock anyone down. They invested so much into Hercules right there, a lot into Anitzer, who was just able to beads, jump over the wall, and then when he was in kill range, Geb comes in with the hot shield saving him.
Yeah, beautiful stuff coming out from Cloud9. Really working as a unit here, using the offense and defense side of the kit of the Geb. Jeff Finla showing why he and his team are world champions.
Shadow Q coming in on Barracuda. He actually gets the taunt, forces beads. Bronx Bombers, though, his ult was up. He doesn't have sprint though. He wouldn't have been able to keep up or have the burst. Additionally, the Janus and Geb were waiting in the wings.
Still a beads 1. It's going to be a whole lot of seconds, 180 something seconds on those right now. 164. Is that a mistake that he hasn't built those yet? I feel like he wants to build the damage, and that's the correct choice. Sometimes you just can't build your actives.
Engage here. Mace to the face is going to dash forward, but get caught by Jeff Hilla. Great beads, but Answer is going to pick up the kill. Now Answer is going to keep up the chase on Bronx Bombers. Can he find the kill?
Cloud9 very aggressive under the tower. Does not matter. Jeff is tanking it, and he gets a kill on the Bronx Bombers. Very low are basically all members of Denial in this fight. There's a Sobek and an Athena. They're naturally tanky, but Cloud9's naturally aggressive. Going in for it. Tail Whip is going to hit a lot of people, but is it enough? No! And he gets the double kill under one tier 2 and one tier 1. Now they're looking at Xing. Bounce is not good enough. No stun. Xing's trying to get out, but Omega says no. And the solo lane rotation pays off. Xing dies for the team.
It's not a deicide, but 4 down, another tower taken. Mid tower's only 1 hit, and they're going to pressure this tier 2 also. This is going to be a huge gold swing in Cloud9's favor. You saw them once again. There was 4 on the side for Denial, and I feel like they baited out Barracuda, right? You saw Shadow Q dash in like, I'm going to taunt you again. Your beads are down. And then they just waited. The second they engaged on Jeff Hinla, you saw the rest of Cloud9 pick Mace to the face in the jungle, and then turn that team fight around. That
team fight swung things around drastically in Cloud9's favor. Look at the walk up.
That is rough.
That's a tier 1, a tier 2, and another tier 1 in the mid lane. 11,250 some odd gold is the lead for Cloud9. Once you get into that 5-digit category, things become very scary, Kevin.
Yeah, and this Huyi starting to come online. His mark late game is so strong. It's giving him extra damage against the target he wants, whether it's a carry, whether it's a squish
15%.
15%. That's a lot of extra damage. Additionally, these Cloud9 players are becoming harder and harder to lock down. Beads 2, but for Barracuda now, though. He got beads 2.
It came after the Executioner, which is definitely an interesting point as MLC Stealth just barely gets out. Xing's not done. Deathbane is good, but Ultimate is better from MLC Stealth. He's going to back... No, he's not!
He knew he was dead.
He's going to back the hard
even
way.
Jeff's like, I'm sorry, bro. I don't have a shield up for like 10 more seconds. You're done. Have fun.
That was funny. I wasn't expecting the ult to do that much damage.
It does a lot once it's about, I think, 600 at max rank, about 400 now, and it's Janus, right? He doesn't have a ton of base HP. At max rank, he's sitting at 17 or 1800, so it's no surprise that it's doing that much. Barracuda, though, with that Executioner online, he's going to start outscaling the Cupid. Why Cupid works early is because his abilities hit so hard, his Heart Bomb. But now as he scales, Huyi has steroids like his 2. He has a stun on his 1. He has a lot of instant stuff or a steroid to carry him to late game, where Cupid's going to start to fall off.
It's actually interesting. Cupid started out in the mid lane, but now as the game gets later, approaching the 25th minute, we start talking about the Hunter v Hunter matchup, regardless of the lane. Is that just how the game is going to go into?
It's all team fight, so it's relative. People aren't really farming anymore.
Gold Fury started up by Denial. We'll see how Cloud9 reacts. Good ultimate going to come out from Omega to knock down Baskin Robbins to about 40%. Not much that Sobek can do when he's that low. He wants to look to be in the front line, and Cloud9 just going to chase Denial off of this gold. Looks like they want the chase more than they want the actual fight, and with that chase, they'll get themselves a buff from their enemy's camp, and it looks like they're going to take the Gold Fury themselves.
Yeah, this is going to be free for them. There's not much they can do. And you actually see Denial rotating to Fire Giant, maybe trying to sneak something.
I like that.
Yeah, you see the entire team. But there's 3 in the middle lane for Cloud9. I think they're ready for this. They walked right over a ward there.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've seen this play come out. MLC Stealth, again, the target. He's got an Aegis up, but it's not good enough. Xing will get another kill. That's the 5th kill on Denial Serqet. That is very scary. Deathbringer fully online. A lot of damage coming out from that Deathbane.
I think the key here is look at Stealth. He's 6, 5, and 6. His team has 8 deaths. He's the majority. He was actually... He had the highest deaths from the spring split, and he played a lot of Zhang Kui and Zeus, and I was like, that's probably where it's coming from. He's playing these gods with no escapes and just getting picked, but being useful in team fights. It's showing here that right now, Stealth is just I don't know what it is. He's dying a lot more than he was from Season 1, though.
Yeah, it's. I mean, just in the deaths that we've seen this game, it's been a lot of positioning, just in the wrong place at the wrong time, constantly finding himself surrounded by the enemy. And right now, the mid lane tower is surrounded by Denial Esports. Jeff's going to step in and try and absorb some hits, but it's going to go down, and Denial has claimed their first tower of the game. Good for them. 50,000 gold, still trailing 12,000 to Cloud9.
Yeah, Cloud9 was fine with doing that, and Xing actually might get picked out here. 3 members of Cloud9 just forcing back all of Denial. It's Jeff Hinla and Omega are so tanky, and as long as they can protect Anister and allow him to get that free poke off, they're not going to win that many fights.
With a 12,000 gold lead, the zoning situation is much easier. You don't have to use abilities. Sometimes you could just walk towards somebody, just jump in and a hit, mace to the face at half HP. Ultimate coming out from the Cupid. Will the ricochet be good enough? It is! Omega claims 2 with the bounce from the ultimate. Andy's dot kills Bronx Bombers as he tries to get away, and Sobek lurking in the waters, but not for long. The cats are on, the hit is good, but the dash is not, and Baskin Robbins might just get away. Cloud9 says no, they want the kill for sure. MLC Stealth will clean that one up, and with 4 members dead, Cloud9 looks to the Fire Giant. This is all but free.
There's not much Denial's going to be able to do. We see Xing trying to split push, trying to get anything going, and you saw there, Denial, they initiated with the Cupid ult, but the team wasn't able to follow up, and Omega coming out with a huge bounce, picking up the double kill, and then Barracuda and MLC Stealth and Anister just chasing down the final kills. They're going to get 4 kills, like you said. They didn't even lose the tower and left. Omega teleported, forcing them back, and then they grab another tower. They're going to back, spin the gold they just earned, and they're going to look to push for the win.
Those are 2 things that are so consistent from Cloud9 solo laner. Omega, whether it's him or the team with the map knowledge and the map awareness to tell him to rotate, or he does it himself, so consistent with those teleports as Omega, and the bounces from those ultimates that we see out of Hercules, very consistent.
Anister's going really far just to try and kill Shadowcube, but Xing's going to rotate in. Anister has no mana, but he does have a Geb shield. Xing's not going to have the damage to finish him off here. Oh, Great Bead's going to immune the ult coming out from Jeff Hinla, and Xing's going to have to back off.
That was a death if he didn't beads there.
For sure.
Just straight dead. You know, very curious. I always like the aggression on the supports, because once you kill a support, you can go for the objective. But Fire Giant's already dead. So why such aggression onto a Shadowcube?
I think they just wanted to get the pick. Without that taunt online, they're going to be able to... That's their main problem, right?
Yeah.
That's how Cloud9 loses. Is Shadowcube gets huge taunts off and forces active or beads, and then Denial's able to find some picks in the back line. But if Shadowcube's dead, he's not going to be able to force those those beads. No, like no one else really can on their team.
Very, very true. I'm just laughing at the gall of Omega. He's behind. I mean, there is no tier 2 anymore, Omega. But he's just walking in the enemy jungle, knocking on the door saying, hey, I am a level 20 Hercules. I've started to build tanky, but I kind of do a lot of damage.
It's the base scaling, really. I mean, the experience difference is huge. He's level 20. There's not much Denial can do about that.
2-man taunt. We need a bigger taunt out of Shadowcube if he wants to change things around. Xing doing a lot of damage. He did find the back line, but Omega found him, and Xing's going to fall down right there. 4 members deep is Cloud9. Andy's going to jump back. But Baskin Robbins trying to find something. Oh, Ye Ultimate is down. They need to get out. They do. Bronx Bomber's just barely going to survive.
Stealth's going deep,
He's going to find himself, but Stealth chasing it, not good enough. He's behind 2 Phoenixes in the wrong spot. Cloud9, Barracuda still looking at this Phoenix, and it will fall. The first Phoenix of the game goes to Cloud9.
Yeah, Barracuda is the guy that's like, all right, guys, let's calm down. Let's get the Phoenix. Let's not throw. I see you, Stealth. I see you diving deep.
That's so... correct me. I feel like that's so uncharacteristic of Stealth. We normally don't see that type of aggression.
I think he's just feeling himself right there. I think he wanted the kill, but additionally, Cloud9 had the rest of Denial really dealt with, so I'm assuming he knew there was no rotations coming.
Yeah. It just seems so over-aggressive. Maybe he just wants to sort of claim his spot. His team is doing great. 5-1-7 is Omega. 6-2-11 is Bastet. We see a lot of low deaths, so maybe he just wants to put his mark on it. That said, in this late game, Janus really doing what he's supposed to, getting a lot of damage off in those team fights with the Vortex.
I think what's important here for Denial is So Traveler's Shoes and Talaria Boots got nerfed coming into this latest patch this past Tuesday, but you're still getting the gold. You're not getting the experience, so we don't see Shadow Q, matching the level of his team, but he's matching the gold, and that's important. He's still able to get those defensive items online and basically not be, when I get behind, I'm screwed.
Another Gold Fury goes the way of Cloud9. 31 minutes into this match. Match one of the North American contest. 20 kills to 9. And a huge gold differential between these two teams. Cloud9 significantly in the driver's seat right now, looking very strong. All they really need to do is keep doing what they're doing, Kevin, right? There's nothing really crazy that needs to come out of Cloud9.
Yeah, there's... Stealth just trying to feel on himself, just trying to ult there. Denial, whatever they do, they can't... Denial is not going to be able to win this game. Cloud9 has to throw this game, and Denial has to play perfectly around that.
Cloud9 looking very strong in the middle lane right now. Tier 2 is down. All eyes on the Phoenix. Taunt is good. 3 men are taunted, but 4 men are stunned. And Shadow Q is going to go down with the Aninster bleed on him. Good damage coming out under as well. Bronx Bomber is trying to look at Omega, but he just doesn't care. That said, Baskin-Robbins takes out Jeff Hindler. That's going to be a big part of the defensive force. Cloud9 might not care. 1 kill to 2, and it's still going on. Andy picks up 2 more, and Bronx Bombers and Baskin-Robbins, the only ones alive. Bronx Bombers going to find his way back into
Omega backed off. All right, so they found a couple kills. That was actually a fantastic engage coming out, and Omega actually might have been a little too deep. We talked about it earlier here. He gets a portal from Stealth, chooses not to take it, but he's going to be sped up by that threshold, and they're going to continue aggressing even though they're so low. They're not scared of the damage combination. All right, now they are.
It's only 2 members, but they want to be a little careful because you mentioned their HP
Fire Giant's up, and I think that's the big thing. They can't risk dying and giving Denial Fire Giant there. It's kind of risky to back here, but with Serqet and Mace to the Face down for about 15 more seconds, they don't have too much to worry about.
And plus they do have fire minions pouring in the left lane as well as the mid, so a little bit of triage need to be done by Denial Esports. Gold per minute, split by team. Cloud9 significantly on the top of the charts, while Denial not quite there. Every member of Cloud9 is above 400, while the highest on Denial is below it.
Yeah, I think that also, look at Cloud9, right? Every active is maxed outside of Jeff Hindler's Blink. Additionally, they all have max items, so the goal difference is only going to deter from there. And just look at the assists. There's only 23 kills, but 4 players with over 10 assists.
Fire Giant started. Looks like Denial wants to get a little bit involved, but they're very, very careful. Shadow Q sort of on the wrong side of things. Omega going to kick him around. Big crits coming out of Barracuda, and he's the one that seals the deal. All ultimates besides Janus still up for Cloud9. They are ready and willing to fight, so much so that Andy and Stealth are going to take the fight to Denial. They're in their jungle. Cats are down. Shing's in trouble. MLC Stealth being chased. Maybe a little too aggressive. Mace to the face claims the kill, but now there's 4 members with Fire Giant.
Jeff Hindler's going to blink in. Now we're going to see the sun's raining down.
Wow.
Barracuda picks up a kill, and now he's going to turn onto Baskin-Robin. Is he going to be able to pick up the kill? He's going to dash away, but meanwhile, there's just no one to defend the base, and there's nowhere for him to go. Omega's going to lock him in, and now Cloud9 is looking to push for the win.
Titan's already at half HP. Thank you very much, minions. So Cloud9 has about half of the amount of work that they had to do originally, taking a look at the players, taking a look at the ultimates available. This one should go the way of Cloud9. Phoenix is down, and now they pour into the base. A lot of damage being put onto the Titan. We'll see if Denial can provide the defense that they need to. They have in the past. Cupid ultimate is already down. Didn't really hurt too much. The crits are coming out. Barracuda still killing people. That's going to be another kill for the North American Hunter. And the Titan does go down. Game 1 of the 2-game series goes to Cloud9.
Cloud9 played fantastically, and they really played the anti-early game that Denial was trying to line up. You saw them. They stole the blue buff to prevent the early aggression coming out of that solo duo combination, and Mace to the face. I think what was most important here was that Janus, played by MLC Stealth, was able to constantly poke out Mace to the face.
Yes.
So Mace to the face couldn't look to be aggressive and get some combo kills with Serqet rotating in early.
Yeah, once that level 8 hit for Janus, the clear is just too much. We'll see how this game started off as we take a glance at First Blood right here. And it's going to be none other than Janus. This is exactly what we were talking about,
This is the
Kevin,
snipe.
isn't it?
This is the blind snipe, and it's so clean. You see Baskin Robin, he knows it's called. You see him actually like, oh, it's coming. He backs off, but he actually jukes back into it. He might have been safe.
Not quite safe enough, as the crocodile does fall down in the hands of Janus. So very, very cool play to start off the contest right there with first blood. One of the key points for Denial, I don't remember saying Bakasura much. Do you?
I think that was the. I don't know what his damage numbers were at the end, but he was a non-factor early game, and just not even a factor in mid game. And then late game, he was so far behind that he couldn't kill anyone. He was able to sometimes find stealth and do some damage, but he had no kill potential come late game. He was too far behind.
Not able to do it on the kills. Let's see how Denial did on the map control as we bring up the map right here. And the same old song and dance. You take a look at the Gold Furies. 4 Gold Furies and 2 Fire Giants going the way of Cloud9. And those mid camps, only 9 were taken by Denial.
They were trading them out for the first couple rotations, but afterwards, after Cloud9 got control of the map, they were able to keep securing them. I don't think that's too big, but the 4 Gold Furies, right?
Yes.
They just kept getting the Gold Furies, slowly increased. It wasn't like, we wiped you, we got Fire Giant, we got 3 towers. It was, we get 2 kills, we get 3 kills, we get Gold Fury, right? Lead increases by 2k. Mm-hmm. And it happened 2 to 3 times, and slowly, Denial wasn't able to have the scaling, right? They were all early game. Come late game, Cloud9 was just online, and they weren't.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the Bakasura. I mean, you mentioned it, how we wanted to see more of it. There just wasn't enough. It was a non-factor. And in that late game, Bakasura, Bakasura can do a lot of damage late game, and you see that a lot when you see it come out of the solo lane. Thoughts come to Zelia, thoughts come to other players that play that Bakasura in the solo lane, and that's where he shines. In that late game, the cleaves come out and everyone dies. We just didn't see it. What we did see was the player of the game. So that's going to be some interesting stuff as we bring it up on the screen. It's going to go to Andenster, 9-3 and 13 on the cat.
He was just everywhere, constantly roaming. It's his style. Typically, he likes to play the Thor, the Hunbats, the mid-game team-fighting gods. This time, he was still mid-game, but it was more individual picks, and he was poking people all game. I mean, he was on point, especially with the Razor Whip. I don't know if it's this play, but he's able to snipe out a Bakasura through the tower, and he was just he was hitting all of his abilities, even long range.
Yeah, I definitely remember that one through the tower. I think we both sort of yelled, "Oh."
Oh, that just happened. He is actually that good.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Andenster is usually a player that looks to set up his team. You mentioned the Thors and the Hunbatses. This time around, Bastet, really more of a straight assassin type god.
Yep.
Not a lot of setup in her kit. Still very, very powerful. Again, 9, 3, and 13 on this Bastet. In my personal opinion, not a character that he's really known for playing, and he came out and played like the best.
I mean, Andenster can play every jungle, so I'm not surprised that he has a Bastet. But like you said, he's more mid-game, not the picks. But additionally, Xbox Smite closed beta is finally out, guys. You're able, if you buy the Founders Pack, closed beta's out. That's the big thing. But if you buy the Founders Pack, you're also going to be able to get the Soldier of Fortune Ares, the Ultimate God Pack, 400 gems, the Cacodemon in, I can say that word, Ymir, and you're able to merge your Xbox and PC accounts for the Zeus skin.
Yes, the Zeus skin. Did you say Cacodemon?
It kind of looks like DM. Is that you, Brandon?
I'm not going to touch that one. Again, it's, honestly, Smite's a lot of fun on the Xbox. If you're doing, I like to play Arena on it, honestly.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun to play. I have a lot of friends that only play Xbox, so this is really their first foray into Smite, and only good things. So if you're an Xbox player, again, I know the best controller scheme. It's called the Savage.
Oh my God, it's not the Savage.